What's going on, all you gamers? Today we're going to be going over a little bit more Cyberpunk 2077. What I'm going to be showing you is just how powerful the new Monowire builds can be, and with Berserk they're just truly devastating. So if you want to see that, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back everybody. Today we're back with a little bit more Cyberpunk 2077 and we'll be going over just how good the new Monowire is in 1.6. It's always been good, but now it's just ridiculously powerful. So we'll delve into why and a few things that can make it a really strong build. But just before that, I'm going to show you some footage and you can determine whether this is the kind of thing for you. So hopefully from that you can see that this is just a lot of fun to use and can work on all of the toughest content. There is still the possibility of dying if you were taking on the very toughest police, but I managed to take them on for quite some time, a fair few minutes with no real issues. If you were fighting for too long you could get taken out. Sanderviston always works the best when fighting the police, I find. However, for this build we're going to be using the Berserk operating system. Now the great thing about this, because you're using Monowire so much, you can chuck on whatever you want for your weapons. Whatever your playstyle is, whatever ones you enjoy using most, chuck those on for your long range weapons. I found having the Jinshu Maru always works best if possible. If you're not quite far enough, probably chuck on a Satori or just a normal katana for a bit of close range single target damage. Obviously the Jinshu Maru, where we've got the Kerenzikov, we'll be able to do single target damage in abundance once we're in that little slow-mo effect. For your gear, chuck on as much armour as possible, that's going to work best. But what I did find, if you can put it on, if you can grab yourself one of those showtimes in order to get a little bit of extra damage if you're on the tougher settings, this can really help out. Also, for this one I've loaded up, I've got Armadillo on, but I much preferred chucking zero drag on my feet. It makes you ridiculously fast and this is some frantic fun action. The rest of them, chuck Armadillo mods in just to boost up your armour as much as possible. For your Cyberware, I find that having the Mechatronic core is definitely worth it because you get a 50% extra damage to the drones and mechs and such. An absolute must is a heal on kill. This is going to be where you're getting your health back through taking on multiple enemies, 10% after every enemy is defeated. I always keep on headshot damage just for the weapons because I feel it works best overall if you do need to switch to them, and then get yourself a couple of extra crit chances. That's going to be through the trajectory analysis and 2 of the weak spot detections. Just down here, any of the bio monitors will do you amazing just in case you are taking a lot of damage. And Bioconductor is going to mean your cooldowns are reduced by 30%, which is going to help us massively because we have a really long cooldown on our operating system. Over from here, honestly, chuck on whatever one you want here, but it's completely your choice what you want to chuck into this slot. You may well want to chuck on optic camo down here instead, which could work out better in your favour for a little bit of initiating the attacks. For your immune system, anytime you can chuck a little bit of resist on will help you out, so I've just got a little counter resist here, and another keeper that you've got to have is Korenzikov, allowing us for that slow-mo and extra damage. Just over we've got nano relays. This is going to keep us in slow-mo a little bit more with our Korenzikov for 2 seconds, and just down from here, subdermal armour, increase your armour by 300. Allowing for a little bit more survivability. The main one you're going to want with this, you can actually have the Sandevastan if you want it complete slow-mo. That works just as well, but it doesn't do as much damage, so we're going for a slightly different build this time. What we're going with is the Militech Berserk Mark V. This has massive duration, 60 seconds uptime, but 60 seconds downtime, which is why we've got the bow conductor in our build. While it's active, you're going to be able to get a little bit of health back. With 5% max health when defeating enemies, you're going to gain 40% max health when Berserk is active, and you're going to get max stamina by 40%. Also, you're going to want to put beast mode in 100% because that's kind of the keeper of this build. While Berserk is active, increases your armor, resistances and health regeneration by 15%. Melee attacks deal 100% more damage when Berserk is active. You have to have this on if you're going for kind of any Berserk build, so you're going to want to make sure you look out for beast mode. Also, Bruising Berserk have one of these. If you want, chuck on 2 just to top up on damage. If you don't, chuck something else in here. You can have crit damage if you wanted to in order to get a little bit more damage out of your build with the Jinju Maru and such, or you can put on a bit more crit chance. It's completely up to you. Make sure to give yourself a little bit of health with a Synaptic Signal Optimizer. This is going to give you 50% extra health. Just over from here we've got a micro vibration generator, which is going to give us 10% extra damage. You can get a bit of extra speed in here if you want to, but because of how much we're going to have coming from our call tree, we don't really need to worry about that. Do whatever you want with your hands. I always keep on the smart one just in case I need some tracking. And for the legs, reinforced tendons I always find best. And because you've got this, if you do a double jump, you can pretty much come down, do that superhero landing anytime you want to initiate combat. And for the arms, like I said, massive amount of damage. Best for AoE at the moment and taking out hordes of enemies, your Monowire. This is going to do a fair chunk of attack speed, pretty decent crit damage and a nice bit of bleeding chance. But the main reason we're using it is to just hack and slash our way through all the enemies. I've stuck with physical. If I didn't have this, I'd probably put on fire, as I found that was quite fun to use as well, but physical tend to work best overall. Next up we've got the Monowire battery high capacity. This is going to help you get the most out of your damage as you build up the damage when you're hitting your enemies and try and build it up to 100%. And lastly we've got the sensory amplifier, increases max health by 15%. I found chucking this in helps us a little bit out, and it means that later on you're going to be an absolute tank. After that you're going to want to chuck everything into your blades, just where I've got them here. If you want to change it slightly you could, but this is the general gist you'll want to go with. And once you've boosted it all the way up, you're going to want to invest a little bit in this, as it's going to mean your crit damage goes through the roof and you do some even better numbers. I'm nowhere near perfect on my build, so you'll be able to get much better than myself. Technical abilities, again chuck them in these. For your crafting and for your body, I found that these worked best. I'm not going to go over all of them. You can just take a screenshot or pause it here and you can decide for yourself if they're the ones you want when you're going through your build. Now, I made an epic error at the start of the game when doing this one. Intelligence, I wouldn't bother with any. Honestly, chuck as many as you can into cool. I find that definitely works best. So you should be able to get yourself at least 12 in here, which is what you're aiming for. Now for your ninjutsu, you're just going to go with this one just here, and that's Assassin, deal 15% more damage to human enemies. It's the only one you really need to worry about. If you want to play around with throwing knives, you obviously can use Dagger Dealer, but it's completely up to you if you want to put that in your playstyle. For Cold Blood, you're going to want 12 in this, and the reason for that, you want 3 for your Cold Blood, you're going to want 2 in your Blood Brawl, improving your melee weapons damage, chuck as much as you can up in Will to Survive, as that's going to help you a little bit of your resistance. Rapid Blood Flow means you're going to get a nice bit of health regen inside and outside of combat again, which is perfect with our build, because we've got some great regen going on already. And then the other one you'll definitely want will be defensive clotting. Increases armour by 4% per stack of cold blood. Lastly, the icing on the cake, why you're probably going to want to get it to 12, just over here, Predator. Increases attack speed by 10% per stack of cold blood. This is going to help you massively with that Monowire, making you an absolute destroying machine with very fast combos and such. Like I said, I'm not maxed out, I've got nowhere near the max on any of these on all of my build, so you'll be able to get a lot more damage and a lot more out of these if you've played for a long time. Right, you gamers, hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and girls out. Let me know in the comments if you've tried the new Monowire stuff. It's a lot of fun to use this patch. I'm sure they may actually adjust it a little bit. But for now, take care. I'll see you on the next day.